This is Weekly Woman by Jubilance for PMS.
So Sam, we start off with some more fun questions. What is your favorite
Okay.
show that you've binged during COVID?
That I binged during COVID. There's been a couple, but always the one that I love the most is Psych, the like detective. What is he? Psychic detective show. That I always go back to. It's like the one show that I know I will enjoy no matter where I am. Like I will always watch it. But I binged a couple. Like The Witcher. The Witcher was a really big one that we binged during COVID. So that's definitely. I mean, Henry Cavill. What can I say?
Yeah, that's so fun. I haven't ever seen Psych, so I need to check it out.
Oh my god, it's amazing. I mean, I like it. It's kind of just really stupid humor, so you just can put it on and you don't have to think about it. It's one of those good shows.
That sounds fun. Okay, do you have a favorite trip that you've ever taken?
Oh, well, my gap year was pretty special to me. That one I did. I lived in New Zealand for 4 months and I traveled around Europe and stuff like that. But I would say my favorite was also Fiji. And I went with your sister, Gretchen. And it was like, we just had a blast. It was me, Gretchen, and our other friend, Caitlin. And we all lived in this one little, cabin hut type thing together. And it was 2 rooms, but we decided, no, we don't want to stay in, 2 different rooms. I think there was an issue with a mosquito and a lizard. So we all stayed in the same room, and it was totally a blast. It was so great. And we were just having fun in Fiji. So amazing.
Oh my gosh, I hear about that trip and it just looks like unreal. It looks so amazing. Like the water is so blue and I just can't even. I'm so jealous.
I know. Oh my god, it was. I'll always remember that trip. It's got so many great memories associated to it.
And can you talk about where are you living now and what's your favorite part of that city?
Well, I live in San Diego. I go to college here, so that's why I'm back in this amazing city. I would say the best part of San Diego is the fact that you can go from the ocean to the mountains in an hour. If you want the ocean, if you want the beach and that type of scene, you have it. And then if you want the trees and snow and the mountains, you also have that. And I just love to be outdoors, so to have drastically different scenery is so amazing. So it doesn't get boring after a while.
That's so cool. I know I used to joke you could go skiing and surfing in the same day. It's so crazy. Where else can you do that?
Yeah, I know. I say that same thing too. There's no claim to fame.
That's so cool. And you mentioned that you're outdoorsy. Can you talk a little bit about your kayaking?
Yeah, so I do sprint kayaking, the Olympic sprint kayaking version. And I started sprint kayaking because my dad was an Olympian for Team USA, and he also created the San Diego Canoe and Kayak Team, which allows anybody from really young to 70 and above to come and kayak. And I have pictures of me with my dad, and he's holding me at 18 months with a kayak paddle in my hand. So I kind of grew up in this world of sprint kayaking. And at 16, I got to be on the junior national team for Team USA. And I went to a bunch of countries doing sprint kayaking, which was amazing. It was an amazing opportunity. And so for 7 years, I was on the national team, half junior and half senior. And in 2016, I actually tried out for the Olympic team. My partner and I was 18 and my partner was 16. We were kind of really young for the age category, and we got 5 seconds away from going to the 2016 Olympics.
Oh.
I know. But I mean, we kind of were I don't know. We were so young, like it didn't quite hit us like where we were because we were so
Wow.
young. And we were just like, oh, we're here for fun. And it's like, no, you're here to go to the Olympics. And it's like, no, we're here for fun. And so, yeah. And so my goal was 2020, the 2020 Olympics. But unfortunately, due to circumstances surrounding the world, I decided that I was kind of going to put it on hold because I wanted to go to college. I wanted to get that side of my life as well. So unfortunately, I wouldn't call it retirement, but because I haven't put up my paddle, but I'm not going for the 2021 Olympics this year. But I love kayaking. It's just an amazing experience. To be out on the water going really fast, I would say it's one of the best feelings in the world.
Wow. And can you talk a little bit about what sprint kayaking is?
Yeah. So sprint kayaking is the easiest way to say it, which is kind of an unfortunate way of saying it, but is to say you're like a rowing shell, but you go forwards instead of backwards. So you're going from point A to point B as quickly as possible in really, really tiny boats. So if you've ever gone kayaking at like La Jolla Shores and those big plastic boats, you're doing basically what sprint kayaking is. Just imagine the boat really tiny, like not much space between you and your hips and the side of the boat. And if you get out of the boat, it will tip over without you in it. So it's very tippy. And you're basically just trying to go over. So for women, you go 500 meters and 200 meters are the distance. And then for men, it's 1,000 meters and 200 meters.
Wow.
So 500 meters was my event, and it was basically like a minute 50 race. So to train for 4 years to do less than 2 minutes of a race is sometimes like, oh wow, that's kind of interesting. But it's so fun to be on the start line and just to blast out of the gates and go as fast as possible. It's an amazing feeling.
That's so cool. And when did you realize that 2020 was like looking kind of strange for kayaking and for your career that you had been working towards, if you want to talk about it?
Yeah. So, I mean, I think no one really expected it to go on very long. No one, like, everyone's like, oh yeah, lockdown, like 2 weeks, or something, because I can't really remember the date that California went into lockdown, but it was like March, I think, actually, March. And our trials for the Olympics was in April. And
Oh my
so
God.
they were like, just keep going, keep doing what you're normally doing. The water, actually in California, the water didn't close down. So there's a little bit of a thing where we could like quickly go from our car, run to the water, and we'll be perfectly fine on the water, because we could stay 6 feet apart from who we were training with and from our coaches. So that was really nice because no one expected it for it to go that long. And then the water shut down. We were like, oh, okay.
Wow.
That kind of puts a hinder into it. And that was, I would say, 2 weeks after like the initial lockdown is when the water shut down, and then the Olympic trials got canceled. And that is when it was like, okay, things are a little different now. This year is going to be not the same.
Wow. That's
But it was interesting though, because they kept saying, like, they meaning the like USOC, the United States Olympic Committee, and the Olympic Committee for the world were saying like, oh, Olympics is in July, we'll be good, just keep training, we'll like reorganize qualifications, just keep going for it. And there's a point where I was just like, I can't put my life on hold for that long. Like, if I stop or if I keep trying for it and then it doesn't happen, like, where will I be? So there was a point where I had to go, okay, I need to look at different avenues. So yeah, it was a bit tough. It was really tough to be like, okay, there could be a chance, but there could not be a chance. So what is the better option for me?
Yeah, that's a really tough call and takes a lot of strength to make it.
Yeah.
Um, like you've been doing so many amazing and different things now. Can you talk a little bit about that? So you're in college right now. You're
Yeah.
also a lifeguard, which is to the rest of the United States, they don't know that in San Diego, it is like the coveted position of San Diego. Can you
It's a
talk a
pretty
little
fun
bit
job.
about all those avenues that you've gone down this year?
Yeah, so actually, funnily enough, this year worked out kind of, I wouldn't say perfectly, but I just ran with where my life was going, and it kind of worked out. So back in September of 2019, before the world went crazy, I applied and did like the tryouts for lifeguarding, and it was kind of like, I I have to say, I have to admit to my parents, like they should have said I told you so, because they were like not really pushing me to do it, but just like, why don't you do it? Like there's no harm. You do a swim, and you do an interview, and then later down the road, either they say yes you can, and you have to go, oh, I'm going to the Olympics and it looks really cool, or they say you're accepted, you can become a lifeguard, and you go, okay, there's nothing else in the summer, I'll become a lifeguard. And so I was just like, you know what, okay, fine, like fine parents, I'll do it, kind of deal. And so I did it. I got the interview. We didn't really hear about it for a while, so that I kind of forgot about it. Like I was like, lifeguarding, kind of did it back in September, whatever. And then come March, and everything was changing. I was like, if this summer doesn't happen, if I'm not trying for the Olympics or trying for any of the other competitions that are happening for sprint kayaking over the Olympics, I mean, over the summer, why don't I go to lifeguarding? Like, it was plan Z. It was so down on the list. It wasn't even on my radar until COVID happened. And then it became like plan B. And so once it really started looking like the summer wasn't going to be panning out like I wanted to, I started looking into like, okay, so how do I become a lifeguard, and doing all the, like for City of San Diego, you have to do an academy so that they know you can run and swim and do all of the saving aspects of it. And actually, so the city didn't hire me. They said, sorry, like we have enough applicants and we're not going to accept you. So I was like, oh, okay, that's a little bummer. But I was like, you know what? San Diego has a bunch of beaches. So I was starting to apply to like Carlsbad and Solana and some of the other beaches. And then I got into the academy and was going through the academy during COVID time. So it was really interesting. We all had to stay like 6 feet apart, even though we're trying to save people. So it was like, hi, here, I'm saving you in the water, but hold on, I need to stay 6 feet apart.
Oh my God, how does that even work?
It worked. It actually worked out really well. Like I was really impressed with how they kept us like,
wow,
separated, because it was like one of those essential things. Like they need lifeguards, even if like there's not many people on the beach, because like one person can have an issue on the beach and there needs to be someone there to save them. And so during the academy, I actually got the call saying, you've been accepted to the City of San Diego. So I was really excited about that. And so fast forward to the summer, once I actually started working, yeah, being a lifeguard for the City of San Diego is such a tough but fun and rewarding job. You're sitting there watching the water, making sure everyone is super safe. And once you like help a little kid or help a parent find their kids, because that's a big issue, is like kids going lost and parents like
Wow.
not being able to see them and stuff. It's so rewarding. You come home from the day like, I helped somebody today, so it's really nice. I mean, you get the whole Baywatch aspect of it too, but the rewarding part is really good.
Oh, that's awesome. It's such a cool job. And like I said before, to people who aren't from San Diego, it's like the job of San Diego. It's so cool. Everyone like looks up to the lifeguards and like the intense training that you go through. Can you talk a little bit about that training academy?
Yeah, the academy was really hard. So I sprint kayaked and I played water polo in high school. So I was like, I'm a pretty good swimmer, you know. Not trying to pat myself on the back or brag or anything, but like water has been a part of my life. And there was moments in this academy where I was just like, oh wow, this is actually a lot of swimming, and like the waves put a little more of a like speed bump into the process and stuff like that. So to become a lifeguard, to do the like application system, you have to swim 500 meters in under 10 minutes. And so yeah, and this isn't in the pool, this is in the bay. So with no like, you can't see the bottom because it's the bay, so it's really like murky and stuff like that, and then there's no wall to hold on to. And so yeah, it was I was like, oh, can I even do it? But thank God I could. And then during the academy, there's 3 different events that are incorporated of like running and swimming, and they're timed events. So you have to do it under a certain time. And one of the events is the 500 meters. So you do that in the academy as well, just to make sure that you can still do it. Because I did my tryout in September, and then the academy wasn't until June. So
wow.
like there could be, I don't know how much you could change in that much time, but yeah, they just wanted to make sure you could still do it. And then the next event is called Green Wall. It's very specific. In La Jolla Shores, there's a house, and the house has a wall that was green actually, but now it's like a beige color. And you run to the Scripps Pier. It's really hard to just talk about it, but so you run from that wall to the Scripps Pier, swim out and around the Scripps Pier, come back to the beach, and then run back to the wall. And that's a very interesting one, because not many people are aware, but the piers and jetties and anything in the water makes a current next to it. So like a rip current, and rip currents take you out into the ocean. Ooh. And they keep sending you out into the ocean unless you can get out of them. And so the pier has 2 different rips. They have rip on the north side and a rip on the south side. And you have to be able to know, like, okay, when I'm swimming out, I can use the rip current, but I have to get out of it. And then when you're swimming back in, you don't want to get stuck in that rip current, because you won't be able to get back to shore very quickly. So for it to be a timed event and you getting stuck in those rip currents is also a little interesting. I know you're like shaking your head like, oh yeah, there's a lot of things going through your head when you're trying to swim around a pier. One, you don't want to get stuck on the like pier pilings, because that's not a good situation. And yeah, and you just want to go as fast as possible. And I'm pretty positive that one you have to do under 16 minutes. Yeah, 16 minutes to do.
Oh my God, that would take me like at least 3 years.
I know. It's yeah.
I am that person that would not make it the second time in the 500. Well, I wouldn't make it the first time, but the 500 meters the second time, especially after like me eating all of the baked goods this year, wouldn't work.
Yeah, I know. Like I trained so hard for this, like on my own, because I was like, I'm not gonna like. I did it once. I need to do it again. Like I can't.
Wow.
I can't stop myself from doing it again. Yeah. And then the final event it's called the mile, and you run a mile and then you swim a mile. Yeah. And that time is 36 minutes. So you have to get under 36 minutes to do a mile run and a mile swim. And that's in the ocean. So the ocean, as I said before, like with waves and currents and stuff like that, kind of puts up a fight, and you have to really work on it to get back.
Wow, that's amazing. I could not do any of those, and they all sound torturous. So thank you for saving people and saving
You're
lives.
welcome.
Wow.
Yeah.
And can you talk a
Yeah.
little bit about Flagstaff? You were just there. What were you doing?
Yeah, so once again, I'm going to go back because it's a long story to get to where I am. Back in January of 2020, once again, before the world went crazy, I kind of was like, you know what, if I can't do anything over the summer and I am going to try to do lifeguarding, once again, it was plan Z at this time. I kind of need medical training, like just, kind of necessary to become a lifeguard is medical training. And I saw that the community college near us was doing an EMT program. So emergency medical technician. It's one step up from just general first aid. With a EMT, you can work on an ambulance and some other things, but it's very specific. Like you get a lot of training with the EMT training. And they were doing a quick 1 month program. And I was like, you know what, I'm laughing because I'm thinking back about what I thought before the program and what I'm thinking now afterwards. So I was like, you know what, I have a month, I can totally do it, like between training. And I had just finished community college, so I had just graduated community college, and I had taken a semester off to train and get ready for the 2020 Olympics.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what, I'm gonna really quickly do this in a month. I would not recommend doing an emergency medical technician program in a month. I mean, I passed, thank God, but I say now, it was one of the most stressful things I've ever done because like I never really thought about nursing school or anything like that. And so I was in this program with nursing students or students that wanted to become PAs or physician's assistants. And I'm there going, oh, I took a anatomy class in high school like 5 years ago.
Yeah.
I could totally do this. And it was a lot. I'm so thankful that I did it because of where life has taken me now. Having that training has definitely opened a lot of doors to me. But it was the most stressful. I'm gonna just repeat that. It's the most stressful month of my life. So yeah, with the EMT, I used it for my lifeguarding, and it looks really good on my resume for my degree, which I will get to at a later time. But as an EMT, you can become a wilderness EMT. And so a wilderness EMT is someone that can take their training as a regular urban, as I call it, EMT, and go out into the wilderness and become a search and rescue volunteer, or just be hiking along and help someone who's hurt themselves. And so, yeah, my dad and I actually did it last week. We did 5 days of this program where we were, just out there in the Flagstaff wilderness, bless you.
Excuse me.
Bless you again. We were out there in the wilderness of Flagstaff, learning how to splint amputated arms and scapular fractures. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm gonna kind of freak people out when I talk about that.
That's so crazy.
But yeah, it was a great experience, and definitely helps me with my internship this summer. So yeah.
Wow. Wait, so tell us about your degree. What are you up to?
Yeah.
Kind of hinted at it.
Yeah, so I did hint at it. So I'm at San Diego State University studying recreation and tourism management with an emphasis in outdoor resource management. It's a very long title to say basically I like the outdoors. So yeah, so the degree is basically getting me ready to be a tour guide, a field guide, anything to do with guiding in the outdoors. So or like national parks, national park ranger,
Cool.
wildlife ranger. Yeah. So I'm really excited about that. And I kind of hinted at my internship. I'm kind of really excited for this internship. I'm going to be a whitewater rafting guide in North Carolina for the summer. So I'm
That's so
super excited.
cool. Wow.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's perfect for you. That'll be amazing.
Thank you. Yeah, so that's kind of why I got my wilderness EMT, is because of the future endeavors.
Wow. Oh my God, that'll be amazing. That's so cool. Wow, I wish I could be in North Carolina.
I mean, I've been telling everyone, if you want to come out, I can take you down rapids, unless you don't want to be with me, and then I'll get someone else to come and take you down rapids.
I want to be with you.
Thank you.
Yes. And something that we always ask on this podcast is, what is your definition of womanhood?
Yeah, my definition of womanhood is just being strong. That's I think I have so many examples of just women who have been strong and who have gone after what they wanted. And like my mom, oh my God, my mom is one of my biggest like strong women. Because and it's not even like just being out like over the top strong, just like simple, like quiet, behind the scenes. She just gets things done, and after a while you don't really realize it at the beginning, but then you're like, wow, Mom, you've done so much, like how did you do it all? And she's just like, well, I've just been me. And it's like, just be you, just be who you are, be strong in who you are. And yeah, that is my definition of womanhood.
Wow, that's amazing. And is there anything else you'd like to add to our listeners? How can they follow you and your like amazing travels?
Yeah, so you can follow me on Instagram at Sam June B, or on my blog, which is where I write all my travels at, and that is thespiritofsam.wixsite.com/thespiritofsam. I'll send you the information, but if you just follow me on Instagram, you will get links to all of my travels as well. So at Sam June B on Instagram.
Perfect. Amazing. Thank you so much for being on, Sam.